to see them race in the cross-country team, but now having seen the German women take the relay without the aid of their biathletes, I think they can stand up on their own and be counted. They've done an extraordinary say who are clean, and just as the cross-country skiing fans are cheated, I think we feel just the same way, and it's almost with a sense of embarrassment that we have to talk about this. But we'll wait and see what the outcome is, but maybe we can discuss exactly what he's been accused of, and at a later stage when this race settles down.
Here's LAZUTINA. It'll be quite interesting to see who starts fastest. 2 kilometers, it doesn't tell you a great deal on a distance of this magnitude, but nonetheless, LAZUTINA, of course, looking, as she has been all through the games, for that 6th gold, which in terms of not just the number of medals but the quality of medals would make her the most successful cross-country skier in Olympic history.
Would that make her equal with Smetanina?
Yes, but what would make the difference is the fact that she'd have 6 golds. So it would be, you know, it's the individual test. She might, of course, have got it if.
We ought to be aware that if you start too fast, the chances are that you'll fade at the finish.
Belmondo. Well, again, Patrick, I suppose we'd have to say, you know, we talked about Japan.
That argument is that you have to shorten the sprint event if you want to produce some different athletes.
I think that's probably going to happen, but I think it's being done on a sort of gentle, softly basis to ease the athletes into it. Time will tell, but maybe next season we'll see a reduction in it. But you were mentioning the other day, they've got to get the course design right, not just simply. The last race to start there, not too far off.
No, in fact, it's 84 because the lap is 15,042 metres. So I'm not quite sure why they couldn't cut those 42 out. But I think once we've done the whole course, we'll get a full idea, firstly, of whether they've started too fast and have started to fade, or whether the wax is working in part of the course and not the others. But look at LAZUTINA coming into the 7.2, and she's going to take Bente SKARI's time apart, 22:39. 50
is disappointing. I know security has to be, you know, a factor here, and you know it's been effective. But, you know, I was watching the bobsleigh, for example, last night, and everyone was hanging over the wall on the flat. 2 kilometers. She was some 15 seconds off the pace. That's behind Larissa LAZUTINA.
The Italians, David, sorry to interrupt,
yeah.
But they're like the Germans. They've produced extraordinary results, way above expectations. We saw the men's relay team, incredible. You never would, if you look at the World Cup races.
Date. Italy is strongly placed, and it's the time frame of replacement which is really the point that has to be studied.
LAZUTINA coming up through the checkpoint now. You can see she's taken a huge amount of time off Danilova already, 1.5 minutes, and she's left SKARI in her wake. So LAZUTINA has gone past one of the biggest threats
in regarding next year's Nordic World Championships. Well, they're in Predazzo in Italy in February, and hopefully, yes, we will be there. And I don't know really what Stefania Belmondo's plans are at the moment. She's over, so we might not be able to instantly answer them, but we will follow up at the first opportunity. I'll be looking after Lahti next weekend. The World Cup seems unbelievable. Well, there's the leaderboard, and it is in accord with
forming these trains. It really does help many of the athletes, and I was surprised that Bente SKARI let LAZUTINA go so soon, but that's an indication that LAZUTINA skiing in a class of her own at the moment, and that's unusual. SKARI can usually hang on to anyone if she wants to, but unable to do so here.
Well, LAZUTINA through in 43:54, so that's very, very speedy. Remember, it was Paruzzi and Belmondo who were closest pursuers, with SKARI in 4th spot. Danilova and SKARI with a lot of work to do. You can see Danilova, she started 30 seconds ahead of SKARI, and she's on her ski tails, but those two are going to really have to make some moves. Mind you, again, going back to yesterday, we saw Berpalou wait and wait and wait, and you thought that he waited just a little bit too long, Patrick.
I was only reading his style. He looked so relaxed, and the breathing still looked very easy at around 45 kilometers. I just would have expected him to turn the pace up. We saw it for the last kilometer. If he'd done it for the last 2 kilometers, it's a lot to ask, and from someone sitting down behind a microphone, it's very easy to say. But I still think if he'd got it absolutely right, he could have closed that gap down.
Well, here's Belmondo. Now, when we last saw her, she was 1 minute and 4 seconds down. She really is a tiny figure. What, 1.55 meters, some 47 kilos. She's just a tiny wee thing, but 1 minute. She's lost time as well. She's now down, about another 10 seconds lost by Moan. Now, Paruzzi, I said 34 seconds. Just coming up, she's the figure in the background. Staying ahead of her teammates. The two Norwegians and Danilova, the pursuit gold medalist, down in 6th place, and the gaps are pretty sizable. But 50 seconds, well, marred, with Mika Mulila, Jari Sametsa, et al. And, you feel, as you said before, you feel cheated. And, I just hope to goodness that, Muleg is the only one. Although I have to say, whilst we've heard about Muleg, there is some discussion,
which is a good thing.
I'll tell you what, to get me moving fast, you need more than that.
One thing that astounds me about all this, and I once again I reiterate the fact that I believe there are some very clever men behind.
Why people clearly are prepared to take a chance, because the financial rewards in many cases can be huge.
Well, if you're talking in that respect, then it's a national thing. It's a decision by a team to use substances to aid their performances. If you're talking about World Cups and European, I think it's more to do with the individual.
And 8 seconds, so this would put her about 1:22 off the pace at the moment. So that sort of order, 1:20 in that area, and so she's not really gaining any time. Less than 10 kilometers to go. Larissa LAZUTINA with a firm grip on this, making me feel better all the time here, Patrick.
Well, I'm just saying, don't go out and do 50 Ks, David.
Don't think there's any danger of that. Yeah, once upon a time in the old charity marathons, maybe, but not anymore. And who is that having a night? That's Hanusheva. Is that Katerina Hanusheva who's had a SKARI now? Body language here, Patrick.
Yeah, you saw her looking over the shoulder as she came up that last hill, and she overtook Marit Bjørgen, number.
Paruzzi is closing on Skofterud, the Norwegian. She's really only 20-30 meters behind her, and that means she's going to have taken something like 6.5 minutes out of the youngster, which is an extraordinary amount of time.
Olga climb, so they really don't want anything left in the tanks at this stage, and both Belmondo and Paruzzi have gone through looking like death, but still moving.
Well, I'll tell you what, Patrick, if these good women don't collapse across the line flat on their faces for a bit of recovery time, I shall be very disappointed, because this is, you can see there how West experience, which has been a good attraction out at Soldier Hollow.
Well, suddenly the race comes to life as we approach the crowds in the arena, and this is what we were talking about earlier. We want this sort of atmosphere right the way round the 15-kilometer course, and it really would make it a special occasion. I think it's something that they can learn here. There have been the numbers to support and to surround the track, but it's just been a little disappointing not to have missed out on the atmosphere that we experienced in Lillehammer in particular.
Yes, I guess at the end of the day, the security here has been elaborate and by necessity. But if you look at the friendliness, the happiness of the crowds, and LAZUTINA, well, obviously she knows from what she's been told that she's got a time that's going to be good enough to hold on. It's really been a pillar to post, gun to tape exhibition by her, and she finishes inside 1 hour 30 minutes. 6 minutes and 37 seconds. She's still standing.
Fans who've come down 31.25. She's, as you can see, way outside LAZUTINA's time.
I was going to say that the Norwegians were pretty gutted yesterday when you think that for the first time ever in the men's 50 kilometre there wasn't a Norwegian or a Swede on the podium for the first time since 1924.
Hollow, winner of the opening 15 kilometre. She did that with some style, and she's made a very brave effort to wrap this one up as well, but LAZUTINA has denied her. She's going to go into second and comfortably ahead of SKARI. 35 seconds the margin between those two, but still a minute and a half down in distance. That equates to around 520.
Patrick, that I would say probably there's only about 3 women, the 3 who've got the medals, who have looked comfortable. All the rest have been struggling.
Well, that may well be a psychological thing as well, because if you know you're in the medal running, it does tend to give you a little bit of a boost. But PARUZZI has finished in some style. She skied very strongly between 10 and 20. I think that's where she really made a mark. And coming down the finish straight, she must know she's going to make this. 31.01 the time of Belmondo. She's going to be comfortably inside, well, 6 or 7 seconds. That's comfortable in these terms. But she's been fully informed and goes into second place behind LAZUTINA, but beaten her teammate Belmondo. The Italians will really enjoy that duo.
Belmondo just skipping over. I mean, quite amazing. She's only had a few seconds to recover. But PARUZZI, well, last year she finished second in the pursuit here and 6th in the sprint, and she actually at one point overtook Belmondo. She's very confident, and she was having her best ever season, so now she's got her best ever result.
Well, you just wonder, if the Italians had 4 top skiers, nice to see